Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Guitar Souls podcast. This is episode number 128, and I am one of your hosts, Mr. Levi Clay. I am here with my very well-dressed friend, Mr. Mike McLaughlin. How's it going, bud?
Just pimping the threads, you know.
I know.
This whole thing. Just go and check them out. I'm good, thanks, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I've been busy week working my pan in as usual, and getting a set of music together because get this. I now have a residency at a bar in Glasgow.
Nice.
So, as of the new year, you will be able to come and see me every fortnight in the Butterfly and Pig on a Saturday night.
Boo! I'm kidding on. Is this you in with a hybrid?
No. I've got Melissa's got a kind of funk soul type thing when she doesn't do crow stuff called the Satin Struts. Melissa Kelly's Satin Struts. And with the residency on, I'm going to have to be going to collect her at 1 o'clock in the morning. So I was like, babe, I might as well play guitar on this as well. If I'm going to have to drive in and pick you up, I might as well be there for a reason and actually, bring some money in rather than just spending that money out on other band members. That's me back, nice. Returning to the live scene.
Boo! Kicking and screaming.
Yeah,
that'd be class.
No,
Good.
actually, that I am up for that because it's not the you love the live going out and playing live thing because it's viable.
Uh-huh.
People turn up,
yep.
And you turn a profit when you do it. Might not be a big profit, but a profit nonetheless.
Money's money.
Yeah. Whereas the thing that kind of sucked it out of me doing the live thing was
living in London.
Yeah, exactly. Just like
being in the ultimate saturated market,
paying money essentially to gig to people that don't care.
Yep.
Whereas this, I know that there's money involved. I know it's well paid. I know everybody is getting paid. I know that the people there are there to have a great time and they expect there to be good live music. So you know what I mean? Like that's the sort of live music setting that I'm totally on board with. I'm fine with that.
I think after lockdown as well, it gives you a good opportunity to go and try it out again with people maybe potentially have a different mindset than they had before.
Yeah.
I mean, even just saying about that gig Party Cannon played with Street Soldier and a couple other bands down in York, it was a completely mixed lineup. Everybody watched all the bands. It was fucking great.
Yeah.
There was a punk band, there was like a kind of metalcore band, there was Street Soldier who are beatdown, there's us who are brutal death metal, like a really good mix.
Yeah. On the note of Party Cannon, actually, I feel like last episode you teased some great news. Is that great news that you can share with people yet, or because you didn't tell me? That's why I'm asking. It's like we've got other big news. I mean, I know you've just announced. Is it a festival in America? May next year?
Are you talking about Manorfest?
Maybe.
No, it's in the UK.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, I don't really know. You'll need to jog my memory after the podcast.
I can't jog your memory because I don't know what the thing is.
I'm sure if you keep asking, I'll be like, oh, aye, that's what I mean. But at this moment in time, I don't think what it is. Last week we had the photo shoot, obviously. Yeah. We're talking about that. That went great. I've seen the photos. They look fucking brilliant. I can't wait to see the photos from the actual Party Cannon shoot and not just from the kind of endorsement ones that we've done. And they'll go to Amy and Perry and the other guys at Ormsby before they go out into the public. But that's based on a kind of marketing schedule that we've got. Mm-hmm. So everyone going to plan in time.
Treating things like a business.
I mean, we did take on management, so they have to kind of do their job. But they are already knocking it out the park.
Excellent.
The extra structure they've gave us. And given that we can now, or Chris can focus less on sorting gigs and stuff out and more on doing what he's been instructed to do and coming up with ideas with the management and stuff. It seems to be like maybe this will be the next step for us.
Yeah, I can't tell you how much I would love for any decent management company in the UK to take on Melissa with the Crows and just the things that we're doing as a partnership now,
making them crazy money.
Yeah, because I just know that there's money in it. So so that's me. That's you. Anything else to report? I don't think so. No, cool. So, I mean, we're on a rushed show today. Normally we film the show on a Sunday. It's worth pointing out. Normally we film on a Sunday. I say normally. Normally we're rushing a show in on a Sunday because we've been unorganised. Whereas I woke up this morning to a message from Mike saying, "What are you doing today?" This is Saturday. "What are you doing today?" And I was like, "Well, I'm teaching at 5 and then I've got a gig that I've got to do sound on and then I've got to go to a house party." And he's like, "Oh, I'm working tomorrow and Monday, so we need to get a show in today." And I'm like, "Cool, let's do it now then." And he's like, "I've got Finley."
Yeah, it didn't quite work out as planned. We had a week and a bit without a boiler.
Yeah.
In the house. Boiler being like a heating system for anyone that's not in the UK or doesn't get that as slang/lingo. The gas central heating wasn't working, but that's been replaced. So Finlay has stayed with us, and he stayed. No, he didn't stay last night. Sorry, he came home this morning for a wee visit for the day because he's going down to England for the week, and we wanted to get a bit of time with him. But yeah, that meant that I've been pretty busy. So I've been running about sorting clothes, doing housework and stuff, and then we had to Nancy kind of come back for work, sorted out his suitcase and whatever else, and then I took him up to his dad's and came straight here. So, aye, it's, as always, squeezing it at the time frame.
Yeah, you're normally rushed off your feet, but I'm usually very flexible. But we found ourselves in a position today where I couldn't even be that flexible. So point is, we're running as short a show as possible today for you guys. So
bye, have a good time.
Until next time. Yeah,
I beat me to it.
No, but I will tell you. Did you know? This show is brought to you by our friends over at Ormsby Guitars. We want to remind you guys that there is still time to get involved in the upcoming Run 16 guitars. Those include these incredible hypes available in 5 new colours. That Dragon Burst is absolutely stunning. You can also get your hands on one of the Metal Lexus, again available in a range of finishes. My personal pick has to be these headless Vs, absolutely outrageously cool. Imagine one of those in an 8-string, I absolutely love these. And finally, the Ando San signature model, available in 6, 7 and 8-string availability. Go and check them out at Ormsby's website right now. This show is also brought to you by our friends over at Rev Amplification, a one-stop shop for all of your tonal needs. Head on over to their website to check out their range of lunchbox amplifiers, both the D20 and G20, 20-watt amplifiers with built-in 2-notes torpedo technology so you can record direct into your computer. If that doesn't suit, you can also check out one of their highly popular G2, 3 and 4 pedals, giving you that trademark Rev tone in a stomp box. Incredible tones, I use these myself. And finally, you may notice in the back of these videos a Rev Generator 120, an absolute masterclass in modern electric guitar tones. Check it out at their site now. So as always, a huge thanks to our friends and family over at both Ormsby Guitars and Rev Amplification. And while last week after the ad roll we did a big thing talking about Ormsby, I can now do a big thing talking about Rev because having a residency, that means I need to take amps out with me. And I was like, oh, it's going to be a nice opportunity to road test the one Generator 120. But then I remembered I've got a D20.
Which is going to be even better.
Yeah, which is, well, I don't know if it will be better. It'll be better for my back. So
better for smaller gigs.
Yeah.
You're not having to worry about trying to push 120 watts.
Yeah. You switch that down to 10. I could push that harder.
I mean, that's true, actually. No, because you can switch the D20 down to 4 watts, so you could actually have better attenuation.
Push it to ridiculous levels.
Or you could have no sound straight to front of house with whatever cab sound you wanted.
Yeah, good point.
I've been fucking about with mine quite a lot, and with different IRs that I got, including some that somebody sent me just for my personal opinion on before they went with them for a product, which kind of blew my mind. Who the fuck's asking me for advice?
You talk about cabs a lot, so you're clearly passionate.
I'll take it, man. The IR sounds great, and the IR loader on the torpedo remote is great fun. Yeah. Like to the point where I've found enough enough of the IRs that you can use without having to put a drive in front of it to still get plenty of gain and stuff out of it.
We toyed around with that on one of the bonus episodes where we did a full run through of the Rev. So of course, if you want to go and check out our bonus episodes, link in the description. Buy me a coffee. See, plug in.
This guy.
Yeah. So any more to say about the Rev? Oh yeah, so I've got mine in the house now. It's in the house on top of my 2x12, my vertical 2x12 with the TC Electronic BAM 20, and I've been using it to play hybrid for the last couple of days, and it's glorious. It's absolutely lovely.
I can imagine having such a compact stereo rig would be fucking amazing.
Yeah. It's truly amazing to hear what a difference it does to have them going through two separate amps, because I can obviously flick the switch on that guitar to have both signals go through the Rev. But as soon as I switch that out and have the bass strings going through the bass amp set up with my bass tone, it just makes a world of difference. It's I
bet it does. You're not just running through one amp, you're now running through 2 separate speakers which are dedicated to the right sound for what you're wanting.
Yeah.
What did you get in that cab? Was it a V30 for the treble end? And
I would have to refer to my emails because it's kind of like when I have any...
Did you just tell Zilla this is what I want and they went, we'll pick speakers?
He said, what speakers do you want? And I said, you're the expert. Like,
I think that's the best way to go.
Yeah. I could tell you all these things that I want you to do with this cab, but like... this is what I'm looking to achieve.
Yep.
You build cabs professionally for a living. You have a reputation for building some of the best cabs on the market. How do you think we could best go about making this work? And yeah, so he did that, and he picked the speakers. So
nice.
You
can show me afterwards.
Yeah, I'll show you afterwards.
I'm definitely interested.
So yeah, all right, let's get on with the show then. So we have a fair few things to talk about today. Nothing on here is particularly elaborate in terms of like long conversation, apart from maybe our first thing. So why don't we start with our bit of fan mail? Of course, you can send us fan mail to GsolesFanMail@gmail.com, and I keep calling it fan mail. Let's call it subjects for discussion. I would love it if you guys would send me a bit of fan mail each week so we could have something to talk about, because otherwise we just sound like maniacs just talking to each other about the news.
That's fair. And not even usually talking that much, just kind of ranting on what the headlines are.
Yeah.
Could we potentially re-record a version of the Prodigy's Firestarter and start calling it the Topic Starter and play that before we get fan mail out?
I'm the topic starter.
Twisted Topic Starter.
Sweet, yeah.
Isn't it?
Okay, so John King wrote in, and hopefully we can get a little bit of discussion around this. I get the impression John is Scottish from this email because he mentioned Sterling.
Yeah, I've just seen that there. That kind of caught my eye. Hi guys, hope all is well. Hi John. It is, thank you. I have been playing guitar for just over a year now and loving it. At 50, this kept me going through a really bad period of depression. All good now thanks to the right medication. Sertraline. Same here, John. Can't go wrong with it, mate. If it works for you, it works. My question is, I've found a guitar tutor and have a lesson booked. What should I expect? Any questions I should ask? The reason I'm asking, at the beginning of last year, I had 2 lessons from a guy in Stirling. Lesson 1 showing me finger exercises, you know, the 1, 2, 3, 4 down the fretboard, which has been very helpful. In the second lesson, he said a quick recap of previous lesson, but as my timing was off, this carried on for the full hour. Surely there should be a wee bit more structure than just a little music. Didn't go back due to COVID. Thanks, guys. Love, John. P.S. Don't worry, Levi, I bought 2 of your books. Great work.
also, John, I teach on Skype, so...
Aye, if you're wanting the right lessons, that's the guy.
But I'll let you... What are your thoughts on this first, and then I'll come in from the perspective as a teacher.
That'll be really interesting, considering my perspective will be as someone who didn't really go for lessons and doesn't have any experience as a teacher. Yeah. I would think what you should expect is someone who's asking you what you want from the lessons and how they can help you get there. You are going to have periods of doing exercises, boring shit, having to just do the muscle memory and learning shapes and whatever else, but like you wouldn't start a joinery course and be told right away, right, cool, go and sort that table and French polish it. Like, they would have to show you, these are the tools, this is the equipment, this is how you do it, this is how you approach this particular problem.
Sure.
So I would like to think that's what you should get. And depending on what stage you're at with your playing, if you're super confident, you might just have someone who's giving you little tips and hints, more like a producer on the record, like in a recording studio or something, somebody that's helping you kind of dial in your technique more and try different things, whereas the opposite side of that is if you're someone who's quite new, that person's going to either help you get the foundations down first thing or try and keep you interested by letting you try new things as well as teaching you the basics. So that's kind of what I would think, I would hope for you if you went, or when you go for this first new lesson with your new tutor, is that they ask you what you expect before you have to ask them, what are we doing?
Yeah, I like everything that you've said there. I can't really argue with any of that. What I would say, and I'm going to go on a bit of a rant about the industry here, of course.
Ranting.
The problem you're going to have here, John, is it's the Wild West when it comes to looking for guitar teachers. It's not like if you wanted to learn guitar and you went to a prestigious music school, you know that you are going to be getting a great teacher. Unfortunately, teaching guitar is an unregulated service that anyone can offer. And as a beginner, you are not armed with the tools to be able to tell the difference between somebody that knows what they're doing as a teacher and somebody that doesn't know what they're doing as a teacher. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not saying that should mean that you should just question absolutely everybody as a student, because, of course, questioning a good teacher isn't going to help your situation either. You are going to have to put a lot of faith in whatever route you go. But I would say a couple of things that you want to be looking out for. First of all, you want to really make sure that the teacher that you are going to can play. That's really important, right? I've made fun of a lot of online teachers in the past who never post any videos of them playing anything. And when you do find videos of them playing, their playing is absolutely dire. And the thing is, like, you want to learn from this. Like, they've practiced using their method for their entire lives, and this is as far as it got them. Is this what you want to become? So make sure that they can play. But the other thing is make sure that they can play the things that you're interested in. That's really fucking important. Music is an incredibly wide subject, and a lot of guitar teachers will come from a lot of different backgrounds. You find a lot of guitar teachers, especially now, based on the kind of swing of the music popularity over the last 30, 40 years, come from more shred-based backgrounds. And I feel that that's what you've run into when you talk about having a teacher that's showing you 1, 2, 3, 4 exercises, because it would lead you towards those sort of end conclusions of having a lot of dexterity in your fingers and
essentially leading you straight onto 3 notes per string.
Exactly. If you think about this logically, though, John, if you went to have a lesson with like Larry Carlton or someone, Joe Pass, or I mean, you can't have a lesson with Joe Pass; he's dead. But you know what I mean, Albert Lee, somebody
from the grave,
somebody from a
that
different.
Could be our niche. We could do guitar lessons, but from people who are dead.
I could get Melissa to do some sort of weird seance thing and bring him in. There it is. There's the money.
Ouija board guitar lessons exclusively in Wisha. Sorry.
Instead of letters, it's tab. Fantastic.
I'm sensing Mixolydian.
Yeah. So, yeah, but the point is, if you went to someone like that, they probably wouldn't be giving you 1, 2, 3, 4 exercises, right? I would never be giving you 1, 2, 3, 4 exercises. Now, I'm not saying that 1, 2, 3, 4 exercises, those types of things, are bad things to be working on. They're just very specific exercises for a very specific type of player. Much like if you turned up for a lesson with a guitar teacher, and then we're like, right, okay, the first thing we're going to learn to do on the guitar is here's music notation, here's middle C, let's find middle C on our guitar. As a skill, sure, it's a skill and you can learn that, but it's a very specialised skill that applies to a very specific type of guitar player. So you need to make sure that you're finding a teacher that is catering to your needs, not just teaching you the things that he's interested in. And there's nothing wrong with like a student coming to me and wanting to learn to play like shred metal. That you're more than welcome to come to me for that, but I'm very quickly going to push you in the direction of a teacher that is more specialised in that type of thing, because I'd rather fill my spaces with people that want to learn the stuff that I play and the stuff that I teach. I'm focused on harmony, playing over chord changes, like understanding application of theory and things like that. Speed and technique just never comes into my teaching. Anymore. I've changed a lot over the years. So I would say that. I would also, John, recommend, I did a video on YouTube a few months ago talking about the things that you should be learning in your first few years as a player. Because this really, you need, as a beginner, you need to have the confidence to tell your teacher, this is what I want to learn. Because it's very easy as a student to be kind of strong-armed by a teacher of, oh, you need to learn this. You need to learn to read. Generally speaking, if a teacher, a music teacher, a guitar teacher, is teaching you how to read, run in the opposite direction. They're doing it so they can get as much money out of you as possible over a long period of time. Because reading is probably not a skill that you need to be applying in your day-to-day life, especially picking up the guitar at 50. Reading is probably not the best use of your time. There are better places to put your time in guitar to achieve the things that you want to achieve. Fair?
Notorious music snob tells guitarists to avoid music.
Yeah.
Stick with tab. But I do agree with you.
Yeah.
Like it's unless your plan is, as you've told me many a times, unless your plan is to be thrown into the studio as a session musician and be given sheet music and have to read it,
yeah,
tab will do you fine.
Yeah. Yeah,
tab will absolutely do you fine. And I've never encountered a situation where I've had to worry too much about, fuck, I wish I could read. It's maybe a personal thing where I've seen music and been like, it'd be cool if I could just play that. But
and I say this, of course, from the perspective of someone who can read.
Mm-hmm.
I can read, but I'm not just going to force that on my students because it's not necessarily useful to their end goal. And you have a limited amount of time to practice in your life. So practicing things that aren't going to be useful for you is no use. So making sure that you're finding a teacher that is catering to your needs. I liked your analogy earlier where you talked about learning to be a joiner.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if we follow that a little bit further, if you were wanting to be a joiner, you wouldn't go to somebody who is an electrician and them say, yeah, well, I can teach you. I'm an electrician, but sure, I can teach you. Go to somebody that can do the thing that you want to do and learn that. You want to learn to cook French cuisine. Don't go to a Chinese chef. And I mean somebody that cooks Chinese food, not somebody that is Chinese.
I knew what you meant.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think that's really all I have to say on the subject, John. Just be careful. I'm not going to say email us anytime and I'll review the lessons that he's been giving you because I don't want to be that guy either. But
just on everybody's toes.
Just make sure that you're getting, you're heading towards your goals. That's the thing that's important. Know what your goals are.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think it is important to question your teacher. I know that I said that earlier. You should be confident, not to say you're wrong, but you should be confident to ask the question why. A teacher should never buckle under the question why.
Oh, I think it should definitely be a discussion, because the whole point is you understanding. If you're asking why, it's because you've either not got enough context or you think something might not be right. So if that person's not willing to engage with you on any level and say, well, actually, here's where it's from. Why do you think it's this way? Right, cool, I can get your logic. This is what you think, but actually, or, you're right, and that's why it's like this.
Yeah.
Rather than the, no.
Yeah.
My only experience of an actual guitar teacher was when I was at high school. We had one through the school, actually, and we used to get that teacher would come into our school once a week, and we'd go to other schools and stuff. And God bless him, Martin Cooper, absolute gentleman. He made an effort to help people get whatever they wanted to play, so long as it was going to be at the relevant grade for them, accredited by the SQA, so they could play that as exam pieces, to the point where, and I think I spoke about this recently,
this on the show.
how myself and Dave Naguib, a guy I've not caught up with for years, who I went to school with, was a year above me, played Aces High together by Iron Maiden, including like the dual leads and all that.
That's someone that cares.
Definitely. And this was a guy who was grade 7 or grade 8 accredited, but classical style, but still just appreciated that people want to play what they want to play, and if you want to get something out of somebody, you want them to be motivated.
Yeah. I my only experience of a teacher prior to doing my degree was I bought a guitar from a local music shop, and they had an offer on where if you bought a guitar, you could get a guitar lesson.
Nice.
And as a young person, I saw this as an offer, as in like, it's value that we're adding to your purchase. As an older person, I can now look at that and go, okay, the logic here is beginners will buy a guitar, they'll come in for a free guitar lesson, which the teacher will know that he's not getting paid for, but you'll then get them to sign up for more lessons. I made it very clear I won't be coming back for another lesson. So the teacher wasn't all that engaged. Bad service that was being offered. Anyway, I don't want to look back on him and say that he was a bad teacher, but he wasn't prepared for what it was that I was there for, right? I was just about to go off to London and to do my assessments for my degree and things like that, and my interests as a player were John Petrucci and Paul Gilbert and Jason Becker and Frank Gambale and Brett Garsed, like shred players, right? And he had no knowledge of any of this stuff. So rather than talking about what it was that I was interested in or how I could improve the things that I wanted to do, he said, well, here's a Larry Carlton song. Here's Room 335. Let's learn to play this. And it's like,
if that had been modern day, you probably would have been like, okay, fair enough.
Sure, that's why I don't want to say he's a bad teacher, because he was trying to give me skills that would have been useful for me to have and to learn.
Totally.
But as a teacher,
completely different genres of music.
You also need to play into what it is that your student wants to do. So I wanted to be a shred guitar player, and it's not for the teacher to say, well, that's a waste of your time. Grow up, you know? I never say that to students now, but grow up.
I never say it to students now, as if that's what you used to say.
Yeah, fair point.
Hi, Levi, I'd just like to come on for a lesson. Grow up.
Yeah.
I can imagine you doing that, to be fair. Thanks very much for the question, John. Yeah. If we can give you any guidance, feel free to give us a wee message again and let us know how you got on with your lesson. And if you're still looking elsewhere and you want to try someone else, I'm sure we'll know somebody in the area you can try. Yeah. But let us know how you got on either way. It'd be nice to hear back.
Okay, let's move on and talk briefly about Wampler pedals, because they have had their Instagram account has been disabled. They have no idea. There's a post. I'll bring it up, actually. Let's do it like this. There we go. Look at this.
I love the Photoshop.
Yeah, fantastic. Where's Wampler? At some point between the 6th and 7th of October, the Wampler pedals Instagram account was disabled. Hang on, you should be reading this. I don't want people to think that I can read. I'll finish. We have
100 odd episodes and Levi eventually shows that he knows how to take
been practicing.
From a page. We happy cat sat on the mat.
We have no idea why, and investigations are ongoing. You can help us by sharing the below message and this image on Instagram. Hey, at Instagram, please restore the Wampler Pedals business Instagram page at Wampler Pedals, and Brian Wampler will promise to post less pictures of his goats. Hashtag where's Wampler.
The big issue I've got here is they put an asterisk at the bottom, as if that's meant to be like the disclaimer that says actual density of goat posting may vary, but they don't have a star to show where that's meant to lead from.
Sure, yeah.
So you know what? I'm not sharing it. No, I found this quite interesting, because I think this is going to be an issue that a lot of businesses and people who rely on social media for marketing are going to come across at one point where the automation of the system or something, whether it's a glitch in the matrix, if you want to call it, is going to have
Facebook and Instagram go down for 5 hours.
And then when you come back, something's missing, something's not right.
Yeah.
Like all those things are going to have a great impact. Not great as in good, great as in big.
Large.
Yeah, like a potential impact on businesses and their day-to-day trading. It's a bit mad. What kind of gets me the strange side of this is obviously now that Facebook and Instagram are owned by Facebook, why would an Instagram account just disappear but not a Facebook one?
Because they're not technically linked. They are technically separate.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it could have been for many. I don't think it will be because Wampler have been trying to do something that they shouldn't have been doing, but it could very easily be that somebody was trying to log into their account. Somebody set up like fake accounts that all looked like Wampler accounts, and then the system just purged anything that looked like that. So lots of reasons stuff like this can happen. I'm sure it will get rectified though. So
I think it definitely should. You and I obviously don't have. Like, we're not out to suck the dick of every fucking company out there and every brand, but just you've got a fair amount of Wampler pedals, and I don't think there's any denying that.
List.
That's what I mean. Like, I don't think there's any denying they've got a lot of stuff out there that people like. So
yeah.
Hashtag where's Brian?
Let's move on and talk about this fart pedal, right?
You know what? I've seen this and I've not seen much else about it. This, in my mind, is just the Miku, but even more stupid.
There's more to this, right? And this story's quite old now. It's 5 days here, but it's definitely at least 2 weeks old. We could have talked about it on the last episode, potentially even the one before, but I elected not to do so because I did some looking into this and I found some, let's not say nefarious stuff around this, but there's definitely more going on around this pedal. So the basic concept is there was a company that launched a Kickstarter campaign to release a pedal that makes fart noises. It turns your guitar sound into fart noises. Now, when have you looked at any of the clips of it?
Nothing.
Okay, right.
I've seen the headlines, and that's about it.
Sure. If I do this, headphones.
Oh my god, you're gonna have to mute all of this.
So all it did was this, like.
So it doesn't go by the signal.
So call me a skeptic. Many people have done that. That to me sounds like something that's been edited in post.
I would think so.
Yeah, that to me strikes me as a gag. Like a
good choice of words for a fart noise.
Sure. Yeah. That strikes me as a like an April Fool's joke type thing. Or if you wanted to look at this a little bit more nefariously, you would say a scam. Get the money on Kickstarter and we run away, right? But here's where things get a little bit interesting. So Chris Smart, of course, was the guy that first drew this to my attention. If I go into my notifications,
Chris, that may as well be running the show at this point.
Yeah, see, still sending me stuff here that I've not even seen.
Love it.
Not even seen yet. Chris is the man.
Chris, thank you very much.
I love the work that Chris puts in.
If you want to come on to one of the episodes, you're more than welcome.
So Chris sent me this back on the 30th of September.
Yep.
I tweeted back at him and the Fart Pedal company and said, send me one of these immediately and I'll dedicate a whole podcast to it and redo our theme tune using it. Because that seemed like fun.
That would be a laugh.
They then messaged me back and said, the shortest path to that reality is by pledging our Kickstarter. We'd love to find a spot on your pedal board. And then thefartpedal.com. I said the shortest path to that reality is by having me talk about you to my 40,000 subscribers along with other YouTubers who would get a kick out of it.
Do you know who I am, Clay?
Right. He then asked me to shoot him an email to steve@fart.pizza. Now, this isn't the website name. There was no link to this website on any of the Kickstarter page. So I went to fart.pizza.com. I did my research, see?
Seems like you're going down the rabbit hole here, man.
I went down the rabbit hole.
This is like an episode of not an episode, sorry, but like Tickled.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You've turned into, what's his name? Fucking, I always remember his name, the journalist.
Yeah.
But anyway, it'll come back to me.
Yeah, so the what I learned from Fart.Pizza, projects by Steve Gadlin designed to delight and confuse. Okay? He is a guy that has done TED Talks. He was on Shark Tank, I believe, twice. He was a winner on Shark Tank. He was on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire twice. He was on Shark Tank. I get the impression that this is a man that has always chased relevance and has always done things that would get people, talking about what he does. He also has a popular Instagram page called I Want to Draw a Cat for You. But the thing I found very interesting is he has a podcast called The Frying Pan. And when I read about The Frying Pan, what you'll find here, if you tell me what this podcast is about, read that out for us.
From 2015 to 2018, Steve Gadlin and Justin Kaufman played a prank on WGN radio listeners. Steve, a real-life Shark Tank winner, would pitch flawed and terrible inventions with the hopes of workshopping them before being pitched to Mark Cuban. Steve's inventions and business ideas were intentionally awful, and his clueless and arrogant persona would push all the right buttons with callers.
After finding that and reading that, I have no reason to believe that the fart pedal is anything other than more of this, but poking fun at the guitar scene, right?
Fair.
So if you've pledged to this pedal,
expect to be disappointed.
I feel that you are part of the punchline here.
Aye.
Yeah,
I think so.
I did tweet that back at him.
I think there's a good reason why the Miku wasn't crowdfunded. This is the kind of thing you have to go and buy.
Yeah.
Right. Sorry. So what you showing me?
I tweeted back at him because I found his I found that thing there, and I just said to him, "Are you making more content for the for your podcast? Is that the point here?" And he just said, "Note this one's real." I didn't bother emailing him. I'm not interested in getting a free pedal from somebody who I think is more interested in a social experiment than making a product that guitar players can actually enjoy. And to be honest, I want to call out every website that has reported on this, Music Radar, every guitar website has reported about this, and all the people that have shared this on social media, because just a little bit of digging resulted in me finding that out. And if anyone else had done a little bit of digging on this, you probably would have been able to find that too, and therefore you probably would have gone, actually, I'm not going to play into his hand and share this, and I'm not going to share it among my friends so they go and pledge to his Kickstarter and give the guy money.
We're still giving him the platform that, if it is nothing more than daftness that he wants.
True.
Given you've added the critical comments on it in your own context, but we're still giving him.
Which I'm okay with, because more and more people are talking about this because they've hit their goal. Yep. I didn't actually think it would hit its goal. It has hit its goal. So these pedals have to be manufactured now. So the reason I decided to talk about it now rather than then is because if it turns out that everything that I've said here is true and there's more to this than that, then I get to turn around and say, I told you.
What Levi seems like to be a prick.
Yeah.
And he's looking to be a prick in the future. He's affirming that future Levi gets to be a prick.
No, well, yes, that's that. But in the long run,
manifesting it into the universe.
Yeah. In the long run, the idea is there's a learning opportunity here, and I want more people to, when they see things like this, to go, "Oh, I remember when that happened before."
Yep.
I should be smarter and not play into this. Just like I'm seeing on social media now. You seen the tag thing that's going on. Tag your favorite band and see if they respond to you.
Aye.
Yeah, everyone's doing this. Stop playing the game. It's a cheap marketing ploy by whatever page has stolen the idea that day, right? And it's an extremely clever one, because not only are you going to comment and tag somebody else in the page, but it's also kind of like, from the band's perspective, it's like, shit, we really should respond to this, because otherwise it looks like we don't care about our fans. So you're seeing bands of pretty decent sizes responding to these things, which in turn makes it appear in even more people's feeds.
Yep.
This is a scam to get clicks and likes to pages that will then inevitably just be sold as part of click farms and to marketing companies and the like. So,
yep.
God, I'm so cynical, but God, I'm so smart.
God, you're so realistic.
Yeah.
Wake
up, sheeple.
How well is that doing?
The pedal, it's hit its goal, so 26 grand.
Can you go to the crowdfunder? I'm interested in seeing it. If you can.
Yeah, fartpedal.com. Yeah, that was the thing that I found odd, because the website is thefartpedal.com. But then when he said email me, the email address he gave me wasn't to thefartpedal.com. It was to
But the
fart.visa.
fartpedal.com literally just links you to Kickstarter, so all he's done is put a redirect in.
Sure.
I mean, he could still set up an email that way, but
Yeah.
I'm surprised that it makes more sense that isn't.
So of a £22,000 goal, they've made £40,000.
It's pretty
308
silly.
backers, and they've got 18 days to go. And it's like, well, how have they got this money? They've got this money, lazy fucking journalists, because you keep posting this story like it's something interesting. If any of you had taken 2 seconds to look at these videos of this pedal being used, you would have looked at it and gone, something about that doesn't look or sound right. Something about that isn't right.
Yeah.
It's been edited in post.
There's
At
loads
least
about it.
I
Sorry,
believe
my
so.
phone's just not stopping vibrating.
Vibrating on your balls. Okay,
On
let's...
the bottom of my thigh, but I mean, I can move it up to my balls if you want a very interesting show.
We're going to drop that story because I don't want to talk about Harley Benton more. Let's just quickly laugh about
Fair.
Michelangelo Battio, because I do want to laugh about Michelangelo Battio.
When I sent you that in the case, I never sent you this link, I just sent you the photo.
Yeah.
The first thing I was laughing about was it was actually the Telecasters of Doom page. No, that's
Yeah.
Pedalboards of Doom,
Yeah.
sorry, the Telecaster page,
Yeah.
like the pure purist page. The only person whoever commented had basically just put this will annoy so many Puritans,
Yeah.
and of course it will. It's a double-necked Telecaster with a a floating trem. I wouldn't say Floyd Rose in case. I mean it's a sawtooth guitar. It's probably not got.
Yeah.
It's not worth as much as a Floyd Rose, even both of those bodies and necks and hardware. And it's got humbuckers.
You're missing the key detail here. You did say it was a double neck, but what you didn't say was it's a left-handed and right-handed double neck.
Of course, it's going to be left and right-handed. It's a Michelangelo Battio guitar.
Sure. I'll bring it up for people so they can I should probably stop doing screen shares like this, because what I noticed today when I was on both Guitar World and Premier Guitar is the amount of advertising that they have around stories is
absolutely.
fucking disgusting.
There's maybe, what would that be like? I don't even know, 3/10 of the page is article.
Yeah. And the rest is all ads. So really, when we do this, we're putting ads on the show that we're not getting paid to do.
Yes.
But you know the idea of the Michelangelo guitar. This just strikes me as so laughably dumb. They've only made 50 of them, thankfully. Was it 50 or 100?
They're limited edition. How many I don't know.
50 pieces, yeah.
50. It's just
$1,500 street price on them.
You know what? I would spend £1,500 for a guitar that was functionally impossible unless you are happy to sound like Michelangelo in terms of harmonising with yourself with a left and right-handed guitar. Nah.
And it's the same thing. Well, it's not quite the same as the Dimebag situation, but it's the same. Anytime an artist switches to a new brand, especially in this case where the brand that you've switched to is so clearly cheap Chinese shit, I just can't see any Michelangelo fan. I was going to say existing. They do exist. I do know that they exist.
There are a lot of MAB stands.
I just can't see, because they like him as a person, and he is a likable character, but I can't see anybody who's a big Michelangelo fan going, it's been 30 years and I've loved Michelangelo Battio all this time, and I've always wanted one of his double neck guitars, and now I can finally own the perfect one. No, this isn't what his fans want.
I want a Ritz,
They
metal flying V,
Exactly.
36 fret, both sides, or the fucking stupid X for the freight train video.
Yeah, it's going to take a stupid amount of time for Sawtooth to be the brand of guitars that Michelangelo Battio fans are going to want to buy, okay? If you're a Michelangelo Battio fan, you are still absolutely going to prefer to buy a second-hand Dean signature over one of these. Why? Because Michael played those guitars for decades?
Yeah, a long time.
You can't play guitars for decades and then suddenly turn around and go, but they were shit the whole time. Because if you do that, you're saying to your fans, see those guitars that I was selling you for 20 years? I was really just ripping you off for a paycheck. So you must have believed in those guitars. You won't have stopped believing those guitars, but it's going to take a long time for us to believe any sort of faith or hype in these new guitars, which we know are cheap Chinese shit. And to release a double neck guitar from this cheap Chinese shit company?
I always feel like you and I are kind of playing a dangerous game here. Not sitting on the fence per se, but kind of playing both sides. Because we always talk about how we respect when artists put business ahead of music, when we talk about music business, and being intelligent to multiple revenue streams. And we've not been shitty to anyone that started their own brand without good reason, I think is a fair way to say.
We would have been if Dimebag did, or does.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but my point being, like, we do give criticism where it's due.
Yeah.
maybe Michelangelo's just went down the same route as what he thought everybody else was doing. But rather than, I want everything to be R&D that I've done, and everything needs to be high-end and boutique, and the big selling point is my name, I think he's more lent into the, how do I get into the market by having something that's actually probably a bit more accessible, rather than picking out the niche of diehard customers I have. Yep. Obviously, he had a signature with Dean for a long time. He played Dean's before he did his signature. As I'm guessing part of that deal. To then swap completely to this brand that no one's ever heard of, but him to be backing up to the hilt. It's clear that he is being business savvy and going, and even just weighing into other topics we spoke about, more people than ever picking up guitar, according to Fender in the last couple of years, and blah, blah, blah. Maybe Michael's just went, well, my personality plus a brand that I have potentially got a stake in.
Or that I can be the face of.
That for definite, but when I say potentially get a stake in, like, who else is endorsing Sawtooth guitars and amplifiers?
Michelangelo Battier wants to be a big fish in a puddle. And that's where he's found himself. I know the point that you're making, yeah. So to point out that we are supportive of people following the business side of things, but then also criticising stuff like this. Really, we should be supportive of this because he's doing the business side of things.
No, I don't mean supportive. I just mean I think it's fair that we bring that up. I just want to recognise it. We can still give criticism whatever it is, because it's not undue or shitty criticism. It's still our opinion at the end of the day, but it's also got context.
I understand why he's done what he's done here, and from a business perspective, it does make sense. So, I totally get this. And if you're in business, learn from this and do things like this. But with this whole piece that we're talking about here, I don't think we're really trying to talk to Michael. I think we're trying to talk to you, the consumer. It's like when I was critical, that's the word I'm looking for, when we were very critical of Abassi guitars. Yes. Because the logic wasn't that Tosin doesn't know about guitars. The logic was Tosin has no experience in building guitars. Correct. So for you to be pre-ordering thousands of pounds worth of guitars from somebody that has no experience in building guitars or really designing guitars properly compared to, say, Ibanez, that would be a foolish place to put your money, and that turned out to be right. Not because you didn't eventually get a product, but because it wasn't even close to delivered on the time schedule that was laid out and promised.
I get what you're saying, foolish, and I think that's probably a really emotive way to put it. I would say higher risk than I would have chosen.
Sure.
As if we're being totally nice about it. Yeah. Like, there are risks in buying guitars from brands that haven't got anything to market or are over-promising. Or, as you say, coming from someone who has prestige to their name in the music industry, but not necessarily the music instrument industry. Yeah. Like, Tosin hasn't manufactured instruments up until now, so I totally get where you're coming from.
Yeah, so I just want... Well, maybe I do want Michael to see this and maybe tone down how hard you're pushing Sawtooth, because you've got a bigger issue here, which is your fans should be able to see through what you're doing here. And, of course, that's always the hard part of switching brands, isn't it? And we make fun of it all the time. We did it with Dave Mustaine relentlessly with the Gibson switch. I've always wanted to play Gibson.
But he deserved to be taking the piss out of, because it's the usual trope of absolute nonsense that gets said. Like, see, if you always wanted to play Gibson, you would have been playing Gibson before you had your Jackson endorsement, or Dean, or ESP. Yeah. You didn't want to play Gibson, and you haven't played Gibson, because what you actually played when you just wanted to play what you wanted was BC Rich. Yeah. And then the brands that endorsed you lying fuck.
And I could be wrong on this, because Michael may have actually said this verbatim. I just don't have the energy to watch everything he's put out. But when the endorsement came out, if what he said was, "Hey guys, Michelangelo Battier here. As you guys know, I have a career thanks to you guys. I wouldn't be able to do what I do without you guys, your love, kindness, and support. Very much like myself. And I love you guys for that. And as you know, I've been playing Dean guitars for a very, very long time. You all know that recently I've left Dean guitars, and I want to tell you why I left Dean guitars and where I am now. I'm now with a company called Sawtooth Guitars. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. Compared to Dean guitars, these would definitely be considered on the cheaper side of the market. But I've done that for a very, very deliberate reason. I've done it because I want you guys to have access to the instruments that I play. And I'm not playing these instruments because these are the best instruments on the market. I'm playing these instruments because you guys can get your hands on these, and if they're good enough for me to play and I can make them sound good, then they'll be good enough for you to play. That's a very different message from what artists tend to do when they go for a cheap brand like this, where they go, these are the best guitars on the market. I've never played anything as good as this Epiphone. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's a hard thing to get the balance of.
It's also a hard sale when you know for a fact they're playing £4,000 and £5,000 counterparts to what you're actually being sold.
Yeah, I don't even know if that is the case with the Sawtooth stuff. I imagine.
With that one, I don't think so. Yeah. With no disrespect to Michelangelo either. Again, I know a lot of people will stand him not just professionally but like personally, because it seems like he's a beautiful soul, if I'm honest. But I don't imagine those are massively great guitars.
Sure. Yeah, and to be fair, like there is the potential that we open ourselves up for a lawsuit by constantly saying that these guitars are shit. We can't, obviously that's an opinion. Like we're just stating that based on our experience of playing guitars made with different manufacturing processes and where those instruments are made, and just looking at the high quality pictures of instruments, you can tell parts, like die cast parts are easy to tell. You can tell cheap.
Very easy to spot.
Yeah, not that I'm saying that that's the case here, but you know what I mean. Like, so we're not saying we've played these guitars and they're terrible. It's like TTM.
We are critically hesitant of brands being brought out by someone who has a vested interest in selling them without proving them to market.
But very much in line with that, and this will be like maybe 60 seconds, Epiphone teams up with Joe Bonamassa once more for a replica of his Gibson Lazarus Les Paul.
Brilliant. It's a boring lemon top Les Paul.
Yeah, and if I'm not watching the video, but what I want to hear in this is Joe saying exactly what I said about Michelangelo about here. Hey guys, as you know, my original guitar here is a 1959 Les Paul. It's a stunning guitar and it's an incredibly expensive guitar, and I would love for you guys to be able to get your hands on it, but I want to bring something to you guys that maybe won't be of the same level of quality, but it's still going to be a great instrument at a price that you can afford. And I will play this guitar because I want you to know that I can still make this cheap guitar sound fantastic. That would be a good message for me.
But are we talking about the guitar sounding fantastic? Are we talking about the fact that he has got thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds of equipment at the other end of the guitar?
Good, very, very.
Because it's like saying, I've got the cheapest hammer in the market, but using all my other power tools, I've just built a mansion.
Yeah.
I'm full of fucking
fair point
metaphors and stuff for the internet.
You're totally right.
Can't help myself. I'm sick fed up of seeing Epiphone / Gibson / Fender release new, and it's nothing new about it.
Well, that's really funny because we are going to go on to the Fender story now.
Mm-hmm.
I posted this in our group. Fender teams up with luxury car brand Lexus for a hot-rodded custom shop Strat designed by Ron Thorne.
So it's exactly the same principle as what they done with Jaguar quite a few years ago.
Yeah. Did you look into this at all?
I saw the pictures and instantly was put off.
Yeah. So I'm going to bring the pictures up. We'll just talk about the pictures and then
It looks like a status base with the carbon fibre and the really dark look on it and the kind of brushed aluminium.
Yeah.
Matching headstock, they got something right.
The thing that's really interesting about this, and I did actually sit and watch the video for this. I'm going to bring the video up. Grab your cans.
Mm-hmm. Can do.
Instruments. Alder body, curly maple neck, that's about it for tradition. From there on out, the main focus is the Lexus structural blue paint.
The focus here is the paint, right? Check this out.
Don't tell Billy Corgan that.
By the Morpho butterfly, which is a very unique butterfly. It has very brilliant blue wings. Our scientists were very inspired by this Morpho butterfly, and so they spent 15 years developing the paint.
Well, I guess it's a blue unlike any other blue.
So structural blue is different than any other pigment out there. Most pigments just absorb and reflect light.
The video really is about the paint.
Light up
and you'll notice the people that talk about it aren't from Fender.
Colors that we want.
It's all people from car manufacturers.
The areas that face you have this great rich blue, but then on your curves, you get shadows that almost aren't there, but yet still give you that great contrast.
And even at night, it almost glows. It has a luminescence, so it looks beautiful, whether it's sunlight or even...
It's a really interesting, well, I'm not going to say really interesting video.
I get what you mean, though. That's still a cool concept that Fender have kind of went away from hardware and things that actually affect tone and went, well, actually, what we really want to make the selling point here is the fact that this is a ridiculous...
Yeah, it's... Currently, my understanding is the only place that you can get that paint is on a Lexus.
Mm-hmm.
And they're very limited on the amount of vehicles that they'll put it on. So it's like a super expensive special edition paint, and it's the same. They've essentially licensed it to Fender, so Fender can make some instruments with this paint that looks like different colours in different lights, or different shades of the colour in different light.
Fender did a colour similar years ago. They did Midnight Blue, if you remember Midnight Blue. It was almost purple,
yeah,
and it changed very heavily depending on angle and light.
Yeah.
So probably not that different to this in terms of
Yeah, that's how I felt looking at it.
technology, but
Yeah.
not pigment.
Yeah, when people are showing the colours, sort of showing that paint in different light, I'm like, that kind of looks like any guitar that you paint any colour because shadows and light and things. Obviously, it maybe would help to see this thing in the flesh.
Aye, I think that would probably be the same idea as Midnight Blue. Then it's one of those ones that catches you in person.
You're looking at me, not the page, right? Have you seen the price yet? Don't look at me. Sorry, look at me. Don't look at the price. Did you see the price?
I did.
Okay, fine.
It's okay.
Yeah,
I didn't expect anything else, to be fair.
Sure, but I like the guessing game thing. Only 100 of these have been manufactured, and they're retailing for £5,500.
Pocket change.
That is a little bit on the steep side,
Surely the ultimate gift for the Lexus fan in your life.
in my
Or
opinion.
a Lexus.
Yeah.
I don't know why you would be a complete car fan and then be totally engrossed by having a guitar
Yeah.
and the colour of the
Yeah.
car that you want.
That is a really good point. Like, the ultimate gift for a Lexus fan would definitely be a Lexus.
I would think so, aye. I would
Um,
take a Lexus. I would take an IC220 any day of the week.
It does say Lexus on the back. I was just looking
On the
to see
neck
if
plate.
there was any...
It's interesting. You know what? Like it's not an ugly instrument, and I've no doubt that it would play cracking. It's just a lot of money for something that has a very unique market
Yeah.
share, like a very limited market base.
That's always the case with
know.
instruments like this.
Do you
though, isn't
remember
it?
the Jaguar one that I'm talking about?
Yeah.
At least that had a bit more like.
I remember the Aston Martin ones as well. The Aston Martin guitars.
Did we do them? Talk about them in the last year or two? No.
years older than that.
Right, because the reason I know
I'll
of the
bring it up.
Jaguar one so much is that Guitar in Glasgow had one in a Fender display case that was meant to look like a fuel pump. Oh my god, from like Americana 50s, and that was pretty interesting. That is fucking horrendous.
I hate Pinterest so much.
Oh, it's because it's the worst.
They're gonna
It's just a
load
middleman
not-
for
not
getting
secure.
fucking advertising revenue. Pricks.
Awful.
Take
never
it,
see
take
it.
it from us. You don't want to see this guitar. It is fugly. At least the Jaguar one was interesting. I'm pretty sure it gold, fret wire and everything to go with the aesthetics. Oh my god! Who at Aston Martin designed that?
No. It's, questionable guitar.
Just slightly. Look up the Jaguar one as well. Just it's been a while since.
Fender,
Yeah, Fender Jag Strat.
Just gonna give us strats.
I know.
Never gonna see him.
You probably need to write in Jaguar Limited Edition.
No, I'm skipping over from this because
Aye, that's
we
fair
are
enough, fuck
far too late on time. Let's do our main story, and this is just a bit of a feel good, also legendary, also makes you feel really fucking old, right? So, Richie Faulkner, we didn't report on the show that he had open heart surgery at the time because we wanted to see how that panned out.
Mm-hmm.
He is fine back home. He has talked about he had functionally had a heart attack whilst on stage, whilst playing Painkiller.
Your ruptured aorta.
Yes.
You don't get much more metal than playing Painkiller, rupturing your aorta mid-solo, and
Finishing the song.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Oh, I'm just bleeding into my chest cavity. I better keep shredding.
The thing I found really interesting about this is I checked how old Richie is, right? Because I always thought of Richie as being just like maybe 2 or 3 years older than me, just purely because I remember we used to be when Hellcat Molly were gigging around London, like we were gigging on the same bills as Richie a lot of the time. In fact,
Right.
I booked Richie to I was going to say to open for us. That's not true. We opened for those guys on a gig at Purple Turtle, maybe. And yeah, so I always assumed we were similar ages. Richie's 41, so he's a fair bit older than me.
Still a young man.
Having to deal with teenage Levi when he was like getting on for 30. Jesus, poor man.
You're lucky you're no fucking dealing with a ruptured aorta after that.
I also found it weird watching this footage because you see Richie Faulkner playing guitar, but also what's his face? Producer.
Andy Sneap.
That's the one. There we go. The name was there because he's the other guitar player now.
Yep.
And I find that it's the first time I've ever seen footage of it because I'm not a big Priest fan. And there's just something about seeing two considerably younger guys playing guitar in a heavy metal band of like an old school heavy metal band. Something about it just doesn't feel right for me. How do you feel about that?
New members and old blood. I don't think it would bother me as
Was
long as they sounded or did the job well.
Scott
Like,
Travis on drums.
who, when I saw Judas Priest, could not have been less fucked. Could not have been less fucked. So it was a one of the festivals. I think it was Download.
I guess the thing that I'm asking,
Sorry.
without being very to the point, is when you go and see a band, who is it in the band that you're really looking for? Who is the band?
That's a very complicated question, because when you speak about Megadeth, it could just be Dave.
Yeah.
When you speak about Metallica, the minute they got rid of Jason Newsted, I wasn't that bothered.
Sure. Yeah, we'll vary from band to band. And
Yes.
with Priest, you can't even say it's Rob Halford because they existed without Rob Halford.
They did, aye, and that's
So-
where Rockstar, the film, came from.
Yeah. Or elements of Rockstar, the film.
Yeah, well, I don't mean it's an exact story, but you get what I'm on about.
Totally.
What was the Steel Dragon they were called in that, wasn't it? What a film, man. Mark Wahlberg getting his nipple pierced using a bit of ice and a potato and a needle from Jennifer Aniston on the couch.
With a big nose.
With a big nose.
Yeah. She had a big nose in that? I'm sure she has a big nose in that. I feel... No? Am I just thinking of her as a young person in Friends?
I don't know. Was there talk of her getting a nose job or something? Did this happen?
That was the gag in Friends when she was a teenager. She had like a nose that... So anytime you see her when she's like teenager, she has a big prosthetic nose on.
All right.
That she got fixed.
I never watched Friends.
So
So I didn't get what you were joking about.
Well,
I'm sorry.
well done, man. It wasn't a joke. It was a reference. Definitely not a joke. There's no joke there. No punchline. So
The punchline is that you watched Friends.
made a lot of bad decisions in life.
It's not your worst. Spending time with me, that's your worst.
Yeah.
We're 120 episodes in and you haven't discovered that you hate me. Well, I mean, maybe you have.
I would encourage people to go and check this video out. I'm not going to play it, obviously, for copyright reasons. I guess I can have the footage up. So if I mute the audio...
I haven't watched the footage. I actually didn't want to.
You can't tell. You absolutely can't tell. So much so, you can't tell so much that I genuinely have to look at this and go, have you misremembered, Richie, when this happened to you? Because you can see him playing here as solos at the end, right? So he's having a great time, right? Well, actually, he's definitely not having a great time. But here's him running around on stage doing his thing while he's bleeding out into his own chest cavity.
Do you think he knew that at the time?
No, he might have experienced a little bit of pain and just thought, this is what it is. When I was watching this, sorry, it totally occurred to me that no one can see it. There we go.
They're not missing anything.
Yeah.
It's just a video of on screen, really.
Yeah.
And a guy ear drumming. I'm guessing he'll be front of house.
Yeah. So yeah, this is a man bleeding into his own chest at this point. He does look a little bit concentraty, and I don't imagine Richie Faulkner would really have to concentrate all that much to play the solo on Painkiller. But yeah, that's pretty badass.
You know what, man? It is. No what else is badass? That guitar.
Yeah. Yeah, Richie's he's an incredible player.
Absolutely.
I've said it so many times because I do think back really fondly on those years playing around London in Hellcat, and also going to see Richie Faulkner play in a metal covers band at the Monarch in Camden, which he played in every week.
Nice.
It's like the big metal covers band gig thing that was on every week that everyone would go down to, and they just bring their friends up to play, and you would just watch Richie play and go, this is a great band, don't get me wrong, but you are so much better than this band. You should be in a stadium. You're that good. I'd never seen anyone like do the Zakk Wylde thing in front of my face and just be Zakk Wylde. It was really cool. So he deserves to be in that position. It makes me feel good to see someone going out and doing real good.
I'm absolutely very happy to see that he's fucking recovered from it as well, man. What a badass story.
He is very much alive. So
you know what? It also gets me that someone could upstage Rob Halford as the most metal person in his band.
Yeah. Also, if things hadn't, and this is a dark joke because it's a Richie Faulkner dying joke, but if it had gone the other way, who would have put money on Richie Faulkner being the first member of Judas Priest to die?
That was
That
really
would have
dark,
been-
but you're right, aye.
That would have been like of all of those guys, you would think someone would have kicked it a long time ago. But no, Richie Faulkner being too fucking metal did the. I'm sure he's got many years ahead of him because he's a good lad. That's all we have for you today, guys, because we're running late. So I'm going to interrupt by saying, did you know This show is brought to you by our friends over at Ormsby Guitars. We want to remind you guys that there is still time to get involved in the upcoming Run 16 guitars. Those include these incredible hypes available in 5 new colours. That Dragon Burst is absolutely stunning. You can also get your hands on one of the Metal Lexus, again available in a range of finishes. My personal pick has to be these headless Vs, absolutely outrageously cool. Imagine one of those in an 8-string, I absolutely love these. And finally, the Ando San signature model, available in 6, 7 and 8-string availability. Go and check them out at Ormsby's website right now. This show is also brought to you by our friends over at Rev Amplification, a one-stop shop for all of your tonal needs. Head on over to their website to check out their range of lunchbox amplifiers, both the D20 and G20, 20-watt amplifiers with built-in 2-notes torpedo technology so you can record direct into your computer. If that doesn't suit, you can also check out one of their highly popular G2, 3 and 4 pedals, giving you that trademark Rev tone in a stomp box. Incredible tones, I use these myself. And finally, you may notice in the back of these videos a Rev Generator 120, an absolute masterclass in modern electric guitar tones. Check it out at their site now. So as always, a huge thanks to our friends and family over at both Ormsby Guitars, Rev Amplification. Let's give a shout out to friends over at VPix. Oh, just throw that away. Please do go and check those guys out. And if you have any questions about any of the Ormsby stuff or the Rev stuff or the VPix stuff, we know the product lines really well, so you can always send us a message. You can send us fan mail, actually, to GsolesFanMail@gmail.com.
You can be the topic starter. Twisted topic starter.
Yeah, fantastic. Anything you want to add to that, Mike?
Just the usual. Thanks very much. Sorry I've missed quite a lot of Monday Night Guitar Geek clubs because going to work on Sundays and Mondays seems to be the only days that I get work these days.
So,
Speaking of which, I'll be at work tomorrow and then I'll be at work on Monday, so the chances of me getting a chance to log in are pretty slim.
it's all right, we make fun of you in the chat now.
It's understandable. Even the nights where I've got it off, it'll get to like 9:45 and I'll be like, fuck, how come I can't get on? So,
Yeah.
I take that.
I'm there. I'm always there. And when it gets to the point where I have to leave to drive to the residency at Riding Rooms, Melissa now sits with the show on and I'm listening to it, and every comment that comes up, she reads it to me as it comes in.
Queen.
And anything I want to respond to, I'm like, yep, type this. So I'm always there, guys. I'm there. I'm there for you. So you're there for us. So the least I can do is be there for you. Thank you. I love you very much. Mike doesn't.
Sook, yeah. No, I do care. I love about you very. I love about you. I care about you very much, and I love you. I might not be there all the time, but I'm always there, at least in spirit. If you need me, message me.
I remember the days when I used to be there with spirits. Mike, until next time.
Bye, fuckers.